events and issues. All information and resources are based on the opinions of the host unless otherwise noted. This podcast may contain some quotations, images, and or excerpts from copyrighted material. These uses fall well within the copyright doctrine of fair use. This is your news report, and I am your host, Tony. Welcome. This is your news report. So let's talk news report. We've got the headlines for you today. These times are really, some of them are strange, some of them make no sense, and some we just flat out want to know what the hell, right? Well, today's headlines, we have two for you today. Judge Natalie-Chase censored for using the N-word, and niviane-petit-phelps charged for allegedly threatening to kill Vice President Kamala Harris. Those are the two headlines we'll be discussing today, and I will definitely give my opinion on them. Now, starting with Judge Natalie-Chase, it's very interesting how people do respond to the news of someone doing something that is out of character, not right. Some people are surprised, some are not. But when you have a judge doing something what we consider out of the ordinary or not politically correct, it becomes a bit of a problem. So, Supreme Court of Colorado had to censor as well as accepted Arapahoe County judge's resignation due to allegations of a racist remark. Now, multiple judges were in agreement to censor Judge Chase. Now, this is according to an order based upon violations of the duties of office as a district court judge for the 18th Judicial District. Now, among the allegations, Chase had asked a staffer why black people can say the N-word but white people cannot, and whether it was different if the N-word is said with an ER or an A at the end of the word. Now, while driving from a Safe Baby program with the Black Family Court facilitator, Chase reportedly did use the N-word within the alleged conversation. Now, it makes you wonder about her history. Well, Chase has a history of showing racial bias openly in conversation while in robe and on the bench. Last year, the Arapahoe County judge made it clear she wasn't watching the Super Bowl because of kneeling players. Now, we all know what that was about, but it shows history. Now, she has even attempted to discredit Black Lives Matter as two other employees attempted to explain to her the importance of the movement. So again, there is more history. Now, court documents also points out that the judge was also asking a law clerk to do research on a personal legal matter that had nothing to do with her caseload, as well as having disrespectful conversations about personal matters, tastelessly cursing when speaking about another judge, amongst other things. So it's really just showing who Judge Natalie-Chase is. And she clearly knew she was in hot water. That's why she went ahead and did her resignation. And when you're a judge, there are just things that you cannot do while representing your area like that. You're a civil service, so you can't. It's just things you cannot do, and it also shows the privilege that she felt. She felt very comfortable saying these things, although it bothers or even hurts people. But that was not her care at all. And so as a result, she's in hot water for it. Now, my opinion on this is it was very inappropriate. I mean, and she clearly violated rules when it comes to her job as a civil serviceman. There are just things you can't do. And there's a saying for this. Just because you think you can does not always mean it's a good idea to do it. You have a reputation to uphold. What you do in your personal time with your friend, amongst your friends, family, and not in robe and not on the bench, whatever you do then, that's your business. But when you do it, do tasteless things like this, there will be consequences. And she will have to own them. Now, it is the appearance of impropriety, and the judge had also violated a rule that forbids manifesting bias or prejudice based on race or ethnicity by word or action. That's what got her right there. So even as a judge, you have to be careful what you do and say while you're on the clock, basically. So, I mean, hopefully she learns her lesson and can make some healthy adjustments and changes within herself to be able to totally understand where this went bottoms up. So, I wish her the best. This is a lesson for her. And hopefully she learns that lesson and can do better. We do better when we know better, right? Exactly. So, moving along with the woman who thought it was a good idea to threaten to kill Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, we all know there are times to where we get a little upset and we may vent, but even in venting, there are certain things you do not say. And if you are unable to cage that rage, you may not want to say much of anything about how you're feeling or what you're thinking at that moment, because it could come back to bite you in the butt, in which this case it did. Now, Niviane-petit-Phelps has been charged for allegedly threatening to kill Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, this woman, she's a Miami, Florida woman, and has been charged based on Title 18, United States Code Section 871. Phelps sent photographs and videos by media share out JPEG to her husband, whom was locked up at the time. Now, out of hatred and anger, she spoke about her dislike as well as hate for current President Biden and Vice President Harris. Adding insult to injury, she continued to ultimately make threats on the Vice President's life. Now, like I said, there's venting and then there's digging yourself a grave that's going to be hard for you to get out. Some things are better left unsaid, to be honest. But she chose to do them. Now, not long after her brazen statement, she did in fact attempt to bring her previous words into action by applying for a concealed weapons permit. And due to her own actions, she was placed on leave by her employer. Phelps made an effort at damage control by stating she was just angry then and now supposedly over it. Now, here's my opinion on that. No, you're not over it. You wouldn't have went to that lengths to say those things, and in the midst of saying those things, you said what you wanted to do. And even after saying them, you attempted to bring those thoughts, wishes, desires, or whatever you want to call it, into fruition by attempting to get that concealed weapons permit. You're trying to put a plan into motion. This is what you're doing. Not cool at all. And yes, you have to face the consequences on that. There was no need for any of that. And her efforts at damage control, well, that's just trying to give an excuse to bad behavior. Because if she was not put on the spotlight about this, would you still feel the same way? That's like somebody getting caught for doing something wrong. Yeah, you upset and you feel sorry because you got caught, not because you felt that way or because you said those things. It was because you got caught. And again, here's another incident of privilege. She felt privileged enough and comfortable enough to say and do these things. And she is past the age of knowing, so you gotta own those consequences. And again, just because you maybe can does not mean it's a good idea to do it. So let's not do that. Let's not get into trouble for something senseless. Every person has the right to have feelings and emotions toward just about anything. But it's how you relay that can get you into a lot of trouble. And which in her case it did, because she ended up getting fired. These companies do not want any association to anything that could ruin their company. So, that's kind of on her on that. You can't just do what you want to do and say what you want to say without any sort of consequence or something bad happening. And you have to own it. You did it, you said it, own it. Now, hopefully she will learn from her mistakes as well. We have to make better choices, and this is not one of them. You cannot threaten the vice president and think nothing is going to happen. Something is going to happen. You're breaking the law. You just are. And there's no getting around that. No one is exempt. Not by skin tone, not by being female or male, not rich, not poor. Nobody is exempt from this. You could be purple and you're still going to get in trouble. And I'm trying to understand how she thought this was a good idea, because we all know that when you send things to prisons, letters, videos, whatever, they are going to check them. She did not think this through at all. She just did what she felt like she wanted to do, without a thought or care in the world about her lifestyle. They could be, changed from this or anything, or how this would make anyone else feel, or even the thought that you could go to jail for that. That's a big no-no. So I truly hope that she learns a very valuable lesson from this. And everyone, can learn these lessons as well, although we're not doing them, but it's a lesson for us as well, to let us know and remind us, you can't get away with doing what you want to do like that, especially when it's wrong. Nobody's exempt. So let's do better. Let's actually think before we act, so that way we can have a better outcome at the things we do and say. Especially right now. The pandemic is still going on. And there are a lot of people who want jobs. And between Phelps threatening the vice president, she lost her job, and Judge Natalie having to resign, that's 2 jobs right there that someone else would love to have. So let's think about what we do before we do it, so that way we're not the next news story, because there's always another story. So y'all be good, stay out of trouble, and be aware. You have been listening to On One Radio, the talk show podcast station, bringing you the current events and issues. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my news report. I wish you the best. For more, you can find On One Radio on Facebook, YouTube. The name over there is Tony on One, and it is available on most of your favorite podcast sites and apps. If there is a news report that you would like to share, email on1radiotalk@gmail.com. placed to the attention of News Report. Stay safe, take care, and be well.